Hello there, this is Benjamin Wagner, and I will be showing you some of the basics about Adobe Premiere Pro. So let's open the program, and we will select a new project. If you are continuing an existing project, you'll just want to select Open Project and navigate to the folder that you saved it in. When we select a new project, we will be asked to select where to save the project and to give it a name. Be sure to save the project in a folder that you will easily remember so that you don't lose it. If you do want to save the project to the desktop, simply just add a new folder and name it whatever you want. And you never want to save the project directly to the desktop because Adobe creates separate folders that hold files that it needs while you edit, and it also slows down your computer. Okay, so we'll select that destination, and we will give it a project name, example project, and we will just hit OK. Once we've done that, we will be asked to create a new sequence. And a sequence is just a miniature project inside your overall project. What's cool is that you can have several sequences in one project at the same time. And you want to select a preset that closely matches your footage. I always film in 1080p 30 frames per second, however the only preset we have is 24 frames per second. But that will be fixed later on in the video. So we will name our sequence Project 1, and we will hit OK. And there are a lot of tabs and buttons used by Premiere, and it can all be a bit intimidating, but don't worry, because I'm going to show you what you need to know to start editing. The first thing you want to do is to import your footage. Now there are three ways you can do this. You can go up here to File and go down to Import, or as you can see here, you can use Control-I, or you can use Command-I for a Mac. So if you press that, come up with this import window. So as you can see here, I have some video files, some images, and some music. You can import these three file types all in the same way. Another way that Premiere has added to that you can import is just double-clicking in this project box, and it brings up the same menu. So you just navigate to where your files are. Click. You can select multiples by clicking one, selecting Shift, and clicking another one, and that selects all of them in between. Or you can select separate files by pressing Control and clicking, and that selects individual files. So let's just bring a few in here, and then it'll import. And down here on the lower right hand corner, it will sometimes say conforming or generating audio waves, and if you do not have a sound for a particular file, it is because of this, and Adobe has not generated the audio for that file yet. One of the great things about Premiere is that you can import your files from an external device such as a hard drive or an SD card. However, you must have that device connected every single time you edit the project, otherwise Premiere cannot find the files. And you can drag the files onto the computer, however it takes up hard disk space and time to transfer the files, and then you have to modify files and sort everything, and it just takes up a lot of time. Okay, to start editing, just click a file, let's click this one, and drag it down here into the timeline sequence. And you'll be asked if you want to change the sequence settings to match the footage, and you generally want to do this, otherwise frames can be added, deleted, or interlacing may occur. Okay, so we got some pictures here. Let's drag a picture down. And let's grab some music. Let's get that one. And because music is just audio, it will only take up one audio channel. And video is both video and audio, so it'll take up a video channel and an audio channel. And because pictures are only an image, it'll only take up one video channel. When you bring in new footage into the timeline, you'll kind of see that it snaps into place like this, and you'll notice that a black line occurs, and that kind of tells you where it is snapping to. And this is useful because it speeds up placing clips. However, it can become annoying if you're trying to sync up audio. To turn this snapping off, just hit the S key, and now you can see that you can adjust the file frame by frame. And just hit the S key again to turn the snapping back on. Another good hotkey to learn is the razor tool. To enable the razor tool, you press C on the keyboard. Now if you watch the cursor, as I press C, you'll see that it turns into kind of a razor icon, and then you are able to cut up your footage. You can also come over here to the tool panel and select the razor tool this way, or you can go back to the cursor in the same fashion. And as you can see here, the hotkey for the cursor tool is V. And usually if you hover over one of these icons, it'll tell you what the hotkey is. So as you can see here, the ripple edit tool is B, let's see, the pen tool is P, and so on. Sometimes when you're working, you'll need to zoom in or out. In order to zoom in, just press the plus key on the keyboard, and to zoom out, you press the minus key. You can also grab the left or right hand side of this bar right here and then just drag it. Okay, so I have to interject something because I recorded everything and I kind of left some things out. Some more keys that you should probably know are the arrow keys, and if you press the left arrow key, it goes to the left frame by frame, and if you press the right, it goes to the right frame by frame. Now if we zoom in here, you'll see that these footages have some breaks in them, here and here, some here. And if you want to go to each of those breaks, all you have to do is press up, and that goes to the first break to the left of the scrub bar. So there I pressed up, press it again, and then if you press down, it'll go to the first break to the right of the scrub bar. And that's a really easy way to quickly navigate through your timeline. And the left and right arrows really help in finding exactly where you want to cut. And I didn't mention this before, but if you instead of clicking on the razor tool and then trying to line it up to cut it like that, all you have to do is press Control K or Command K for Max, and that will cut it right where the scrub line is. Also, the home and end key, just by the name, they kind of tell you what they do. Home key goes to the beginning of the project, and end key goes to the end. Okay, so if we zoom in so that we see the individual frames, you'll see this brownish line to the right of the scrub bar. And this indicates which frame you are seeing in the viewer window. So if we take this frame out, you'll see that the viewing frame becomes black because there is nothing here for you to see. And this can be a big problem with new editors because they go too fast and they can add or subtract a frame or two, which really makes your show look tacky. Okay, zoom back out, and to delete, let's cut this right here. To delete footage, just select it, press delete or backspace. If you just do this, it leaves an empty gap, as you can see here. Now you can simply take your work, so select these two files and drag it. However, if you have multiple pieces of footage out here, that can be quite tedious. So there are two things that you can do to counter this. We can delete the footage, and then right click in the open area and select Ripple Delete, and that'll move everything down. or you can select the footage and Alt backspace. And I believe on a Mac that is Option backspace. And this will delete and ripple delete everything all in one action. Now there are some instances when the ripple delete function will not work, and you will have to select all the files downstream and drag them down. Now this only happens when you have different audio tracks down here mixing together and a whole bunch of layers. The simplest way to do that is just zoom all the way out so your whole project is in view. If this is deleted, and there's just select your whole project and move it down. And this is where snapping comes in handy, because if this is where you want it to snap to, you can just drag it and it'll snap to that scrubber line. Okay, let's get rid of this audio. And if we play this clip, you'll see that the audio level bars over here will start to jump. Okay. Now we want the audio to be right around -8. We don't want it to be above -6, and so we want it to be between -6 and -12. Now when it's right there, it's not quite red or peaking, but however it is loud enough that if you have other loud noises in your show, that it won't cause the audience to plug their ears or anything. If you have seen some YouTube's videos, they do this a lot. The speaker is very quiet, and so you have to turn up your TV volume or your computer volume, and when the music comes in, it blasts out your eardrums, and it's very, very annoying. So don't do that. Adjust the volume so that all the audio clips come down to or up to about -8 decibels. Another great way to check your audio levels is to wear headphones. And what you want to do is you put your headphones in, you start listening to some of your favorite music, adjust the volume so that it sounds like it's a good volume, and then start editing from there. Sometimes when you have a gap, like this selected area right here, and you want to put in another video, that video is too long. So if you press Control, you'll see these white arrows where my mouse is, and then you can drop your file in. And if we zoom out, you'll see that it pushed the picture out of the way and dropped the footage right into that gap. However, it did leave this open area, so all we have to do is click and ripple delete. If you want to save more time, you can just select it and press backspace. Okay, now to make a show more interesting, you may want to add transitions between video clips, like right here. To do this, just go to your Effects tab, right here, go to Video Transitions, and select one of the many options that you have. So let's do a page peel or something. Let's do a page turn. So if we select the transition, go up here to Effects Controls, you'll see that it is centered at the cut. Now you can either start at the cut, so it'll start at the beginning of the second footage, or you can end at cut, where it will end at the end of the first footage. I like start at cut because that mixes both. Center at cut because it mixes both. If you want to make the transition longer, you can come up here, find the time that you want, or you can click it and enter the time you want. Do remember that this is on an hour, minute, second, frame basis. So if you select everything and press 2 when you want 2 seconds, it will only be 2 frames. So just remember to select 2:00 for 2 seconds and 0 frames, and that will be 2 seconds. Or you can come down here to the timeline and select the end of the transition and manually drag it out. Something else that you can do to make your show look better is to add titles. To add a title, just go up here to Title, New Title, and I usually use default still or default roll. I've tried crawl, but as far as I can tell, that's the same as a still. So I'm going to select still, and then you simply name it, and press OK. And then the edit window will pop up, and you can choose your font size, and position. To add a lettering, just click inside these boxes, and these boxes are called title saves, and you want to be inside the box so that your titles or lettering or anything are not very close to the edge of your footage. So if we select all of our font, and we can come down here to a good number of preset font titles or styles, and just go through them and select one that you like. You can also come up here and increase the font size or decrease it. And then over here, these two icons center the font horizontally and vertically. So if you want it just vertical, just press that one. If you want horizontal, press that one. And then it's in the center of the screen. Once you're done editing, just close it. And we'll go back to the project tab. And there is our title right there. To apply it to the timeline, just like any other file, just click it and drag it down, and you'll have your font over a black background. If you want it over the footage, just click and drag it so that it is on top of the footage in the timeline, and you can see there it's on top of the footage. Do keep in mind that if your footage is on the bottom and your image or footage, if your title is on the bottom and your image or footage is on the top, the image or footage will be on top and your title will not be seen. So make sure that the title is on top if you want it on top of the footage. Once you have finished editing the project, you'll want to export it. To do this, you can either click File, Export, Media, or as you can see here, you can use the hotkeys Control M or Command M for a Mac. Before you export, you'll want to make sure that this bar down here, this gray bar, covers your entire project. This indicates what's going to be exported. So if it's only to here, Premiere is only going to export from the beginning to this point. An easy way to make sure that the bar covers your entire project is to zoom out so that your entire project is in view, and then double click on the bar, and that will extend it from the beginning to the end. Okay, now let's export. I'm going to do Control M, and then the export settings pop up. Now these can be a bit confusing, but the format, preset, and output name are the three things that you only need to be concerned with at this point. For format, I have found that H.264 has been the best format for compression format, keeping good quality at a low file size. In preset, you just go down and select one that you want. I generally like to match my footage, so I will go down here to HD 1080p, and since I film at 30 frames per second, the closest one is this 29.97. I will select that, and then you'll want to select the output name. So this also asks you where you want to save your product. It automatically saves it in your project file. If you want to save it in another file, you just navigate to that file, name the project, and hit save. And then you click export. And this can take anywhere from a couple minutes to a couple hours depending on the file size, the length of your show, and the speed of your computer. And I will just jump to when this is finished. Okay, now that it has exported. Let's take a look at it. So we will navigate to where we saved it and open it up. And you generally want to take a look at your final product in case there's any flaws or mistakes that you didn't catch, and you can go back and fix them right away. Okay, great. So that concludes the basics for Adobe Premiere Pro. If you have any questions, feel free to ask or come up to Snell 204 and hopefully we can straighten things out for you. Thank you for your time and have a good day.